Creating something like a YouTube channel that has evergreen content that people can always find, it's just a no-brainer to me. And I think it's something that hopefully businesses start to do more and start to build something on. And I know it's been around for a really long time, but it's still an idea that I think people aren't kind of catching on to build your business on YouTube as well. You know, there's so many different ways to do that.
We have a formula for how we create. There's certain things that bring us inspiration, and when we're around those things, our ideas flow. So it's like, man, you better figure out a way to get to that thing.
I know a lot of creatives don't want to be in a specific niche because they don't feel like they can be creative forever. A creative sees 10 doors and wants to open every single one. But niching down is going into that door, that one door, and just finding that there are actually 10 more doors behind that one door. We just want to do what hasn't been done yet, or do something that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And the way to be really good at something is to do it over and over.
On this episode of the podcast, we talk about why niching down actually opens up more creative opportunities, how to overcome the imposter syndrome that's keeping you from putting yourself out there, and why your unique personality is your secret weapon for standing out in a crowded market. What's up, my friend? Hey, welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Video Business Show. I'm Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas and the Grow Your Video Business Show. Man, I'm so excited. I'm grateful that you are here. If this is your first time here, welcome. This show is designed for filmmakers and video business owners who are trying to figure out how to build a sustainable business, how to charge more, how to charge what you're worth, how to work with clients that you like, how to do work that inspires you, how to hire employees, how to fire employees, how to work with contractors, editors, all of the things related to running a video production business, which I've been doing for over 20 years, somewhat successfully. I feel like sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? But anyway, this show, I bring on experts to share amazing wisdom and knowledge. I sometimes drop, I think, some wisdom. Sometimes it's amazing, and I say amazing because it's transformed, some of the things that I've done have actually been really, really great. Over 20 years, man, I hope that I've made some good choices. And anyway, it is my hope, my heart and desire to share what I'm learning with you, and hope that the things that resonate and that sound like, yeah, I could do that, that you would do those things. And my prayer is that they would actually work for you and change things for the better and for the best for your business, for your life, and all the things. So thank you for being here. If you are, considering how do I grow my business? What are some actionable things that I can do today? One of the things, I see these Facebook ads, and there's this one group that talks about how, networking, here's how to grow your business without having to network. And I would just say, networking, we're out and about, and there's so many potential people that we probably would love working with. And without the proper ways on how to communicate what we do, how we add value in the world, essentially how to have a conversation with somebody about these things without feeling like you're pitching yourself or you're trying to, you just come across like a sleazy salesperson. Networking it's very important, and it's not brain science. And so what I've done is I've put together a very basic download for you that is my top networking tips and strategies. These are things that I've been doing for the 20 years in running my business, and I'm pretty good at networking. I'm pretty good at introducing myself, but still, it's awkward when you step into a room and you don't know people. And I want you to have more confidence. I want you to have some tools so that when you are in these situations, you're not listening to people say like, "Oh, you don't need a network to grow your business." Like, it's just like something that you should know how to do. Okay, so I'm a little flustered, but anyway, I've put these things into a document to help serve you. Conversation starters, powerful questions that you can ask, follow-up techniques, and then I'm also sharing some of my favorite podcast episodes and even some books that will help build you into a better networker, and not like the sleazy kind, with like this like slick back hair and whatever. But I'm just thinking it was like some 80s movies. What is that? Boiler Room? Is this the right movie that I'm thinking of? That's not it. True, genuine, heartfelt, how to connect with people in a way that you're serving them, but you're also able to find people that are the right fit that might hire you one day to do video stuff for them. So you can download this resource at studiosherpas.com/networking. I almost forgot what the URL was. studiosherpas.com/networking. You can go grab that, and I would love for you to start implementing those things. I even created an extra video to give you some more ways on how to do this better, okay? All right, let's jump into today's episode. I'm really excited about it. Turned into a mini coaching session, which is sometimes fun, and hope you enjoy. Okay, let's go. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to another episode. Today with me is Kenrick Mills, who is the owner of Earth Walker Media and also mutual friend of Josh Emmerich. I think Josh has recommended the most people for this show. I just think the world of Josh, and I love how he's plugged in and connected with other very talented, amazing human beings that also happen to be filmmakers. Kenrick, super excited and happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Shout out to Josh for connecting us. He's just a good dude, and he loves helping people, and it really shows within his actions. It's not something that he just says. He helps people. So.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's so great. I've known him for quite some time, and I've really enjoyed being in his, just in this personal space with him. We've spent time on our mastermind retreat. He's come to the Onward Summit, and just to be able to hug him and thank him. He's also way taller than I ever thought when I first met him. I'm all like, dude, you're like a giant.
I've thought the same thing.
You just can't tell, right?
Yeah. I've never met him in person, but every, BTS photo that he has, I'm like, that dude's pretty tall. Like when you're zooming somebody or having a video call with somebody, you can't really tell that, but it's just like, dang, he's probably like over 6 foot easy.
I always posture, like when I'm on a Zoom call, I always like just sit up straighter, and I'm like, oh, now I'm taller than everybody. Okay,
right.
I don't really do that. Okay, so tell us about your video production biz.
So I'll give you guys a really short abbreviated version. I'm from Indiana originally, and graduated college, studied political science.
Where'd you go to school?
Indiana University, Bloomington.
Okay, cool.
So where Bobby Knight was a head coach, and Mark Cuban went there as well, a few notable people. Ended up getting out of college, and like a lot of people, I still had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I had all of the student loans to start paying and all this stuff. So, I started working odd jobs. I worked at Enterprise for a long time, cleaning the inside and outside of cars, just like blue collar labor, things like that. I was a construction worker for a little while, like on roofs and doing concrete and stuff like that. And I was just thinking the whole time, this is not playing to any of my strengths at all. I can hear orders and, be the guy that you tell him what to do, and I'll do it, and, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, it's like I wasn't getting that creative itch that I felt like I wanted to. Yeah. And I'd been in and out of bands for about 10 years. So I have a musical background, and that's kind of what led me into video, which is, I feel like a lot of people kind of have that handoff. I was like the emo kid in school. So, so that was who I was. But at the same time, basically in a short version, we ended up getting a music video done by a man named Ryan Blasky, who I still am in contact with here and there. We follow each other on Instagram. He does great work. He's actually somebody who I'd love to see on this podcast. So
there you go. Make
exactly.
The intro.
Yeah. So he did a music video for our band, which our band wasn't that good. It is what it is. But he did a music video for like $300 for us, and we watched it in a local McDonald's. Me and the band were all crowded around. Yeah, exactly. We're all crowded around Brian's computer as he's showing us this first draft of this music video, and we're all just looking at each other like, this is the best thing we've ever seen in our lives. Like this makes us look so cool. And so, a couple weeks go by, and like we're still like just loving that music video. We're so glad we did it. And for the price, I mean, between 5 of us, splitting a $300 video is just like, he should have charged way more, considering like just the feeling that gave us.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
So, I had a little light bulb come up above my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been doing video editing and shooting just for random things over pretty much the entirety of my life. I did my sister's wedding when I was 14 years old. I was in broadcasting all through high school. We used to, I just always dabbled with video cameras and all that kind of stuff. And I always really enjoyed it. But it wasn't until that moment where I was like, people can actually make money doing this. This is crazy. So I ended up getting a T3i, a Canon T3i, one that does photo and video, and started kind of just shooting music videos myself. The first one I did was like $200, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like almost more than what I made in a week working construction or enterprise, where I was busting my butt, man. Like literally busting my butt for 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I actually, funny story, I have my last enterprise pay stub right next to my desk. So it's always a good reminder just to see kind of like,
that's cool.
There's frustrations in the business here and there, but at least I'm not where I was, right? So, get some clients with music videos. I've done a couple little small business videos here and there. They were bad. But at the time, it was, not a lot of people were doing this. So it's like, oh, wow, that's great. The background's blurred, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. And I remember, exactly. One of the videos I did, I remember looking back on it recently, and it was just like completely yellow and orange. And like, I don't even think I knew how to white balance my camera, but I was like, $200, pay me $200 for this. You know what I mean? So anyways, me and my wife were kind of trying to figure out a way to move out of our small hometown because we just knew that there was nothing there for us job wise. It was a lot of factory work and things like that, kind of a small town. And so we basically just covered our eyes and pointed to a map and ended up, we were just thinking, let's move to Florida. The weather's nice. We vacationed there a couple times. I mean, if it doesn't work out, so be it. So in 2014, we ended up moving down to Florida, and I basically haven't had a job since I moved to Florida, like a real job. Basically bet on myself, just started to cold, email and message on Craigslist or whatever it was at that time. I mean, when Craigslist was the place to be, I have no idea what it's like now. But I ended up getting in contact with this pest control company. And before we moved, I went down to Florida to kind of scope out an area with my best friend, Chad, who his brother lives in our area. And I booked a job while everybody else was on vacation, if that makes sense. So I ride down with my best friend to Florida on the East Coast, and I'm there for 2 days. I rent a car. I drive over to Fort Myers. I'd only been there a couple times in my life. It was like a 3-hour drive. I ended up doing a video for his pest control company and a little jujitsu video. And I think he paid me like $1,200. And at that time I was like, this is the most money I'd ever seen from like somebody just paying me. And I was doing it myself, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, that phone call where I booked that was interesting. But I ended up getting back to Florida. Like I said, we fully moved. We packed everything in our Ford Taurus, our like 2004 Ford Taurus. We had like maybe a couple grand in the bank account, and didn't have a place to live yet. So we just stayed with a friend for a week and a half until we could find a place. But the pest control guy, the owner, ended up telling me on that first job, hey, if you ever move to Florida, let me know. I'd love to try to keep you busy if I can. So I call him, the 3 months after we do the job, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I moved to Florida. And he's like, no way. And I was like, yeah. And so I had a meeting with him, and he had this grand idea to do a pest control reality show. Which there are a couple of those like on TV back in the day. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I mean, young me, I'm so hungry. I just want to do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sounds good. And he hits me with, what does this cost? And I'm like, I had no idea. You know what I mean? So we ended up basically figuring out something that was, I think, like $900 a week. I would head over there for 2 days. I would shoot, this reality show and kind of follow them with my camera. And then I'd go home and edit it, and we create episodes that way. But then that was the first client that I kind of consistently had. So I was getting paid weekly. So I was able to start reaching out to other small companies, little realtors, things like that down here. Real estate's huge down here. So there's a lot of realty and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of grew my business over the years, just from that and reaching out to people. I was in a couple networking groups for a little while, the local like Chamber of Commerce type deal. And I guess I'm here 10 years later and just still doing the thing, and did weddings for a little while in there. Don't do weddings anymore, but what we do now is we just work with a lot of local businesses. We have retainers with a couple clients, and just working with certain people consistently, and then having a couple of those jobs kind of filter in each month that are new and exciting. So, yeah.
That's cool. Your clients that are retainer clients, like what are you doing? Like how often are you working with them, and what kind of stuff are you creating for them?
So I have a few different retainers, and over the course of the 10 years, I've had different retainers here and there. But currently, I'm working with a few churches, and we're doing weekly kind of episodic videos. I just shot one this morning actually, and it's something where we've been working together so much consistently that we're kind of in a good groove and a good flow. And I love doing that with clients, being able to work with them consistently enough to kind of build something and know how we operate. It just kind of makes it easier than the kind of one-offs. And then I'm doing a YouTube channel for an interior design client down here, which is super fun and exciting. We're about a year in right now, and it's just something that's hard, because you got to try to get monetized on YouTube, and it's not easy. I think 90% of channels don't get monetized in the first year, so they've been great. And then I've had a retainer with, a moving company recently, and just a little bit everywhere. I know a lot of people say to niche down, but I just kind of have this type of person that I'm trying to work with more than a specific type of client, I guess. And that's kind of what I do.
If there was only, this is kind of where, I have this conversation with anybody that I coach and anybody that's kind of in the Studio Sherpa's world. I like doing all the kinds of, but the particular kind of person love this. I love this idea that even that is kind of a niche, right? You're like, I'm not going to work with anybody. If they're like this kind of person, like these are their values, this is who I want to work with. I love that you have that. The sooner you figure that out, the more you will enjoy your work, right? The people that you're working with, that's really, really good. I think if there was, this is the question I usually ask, is like, if you could only work with one kind of industry or only do one kind of video, like deliverable, and you had to pick one, it's like, okay, I love working in this industry, or if I could only make one kind of video, it would be this one. Which one would you choose?
I think the one that gets me most excited is the interior design video. It's something that down here, it's very popular. There are a lot of interior designers, and I live next to Palm Beach. I live in Jupiter. There's a lot of just money down here. They don't specifically make money down here. They bring it down here from New York or wherever. And so there's a lot of people doing projects, and I've worked with a few interior designers over the course of the years. And there's just something about just being able to video a beautiful space instead of a person. That's just, I can take my time and I can really be creative and use my creative brain and kind of figure out interesting ways to showcase their work. And I think that if I had to do a specific type of project, it would be like a house tour, they call it. So, them showcasing the entire house that they did and why they made the decisions that they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. And, that's kind of where, when people are struggling, when video production business owners are like, well, I'm not getting the leads that I want. How's your social media going? I was like, I'm not really, I don't really post, or I do, but okay, who's your audience there? Who are you talking to? Well, kind of just anybody that owns a business. It's like, that just makes that makes your job so much harder when you don't have a specific persona, a specific niche, or a specific problem that you solve with a particular kind of video. And my challenge to people is like, well, just pick something, and you don't have to do that work forever. It's just going to be for a period of time. Like, you need to create some momentum and some traction. So 6 months, 12 months, if you could speak to one audience particularly, and you can take any jobs that come in and you can spend time networking with other people, but let's get some focus so you can create some stuff that is focused and that resonates with somebody versus creating any type of marketing content that doesn't relate with anybody because you're speaking to everybody. So even thinking like, man, what if I built out a sub page on my website that was just for interior designers, and I could speak directly to their pain points, and I could showcase my favorite piece from working with an interior designer and get like, one or two quotes from interior designers that I've worked with. And then I'm going to create a handful of marketing type posts or blog posts or whatever videos that speak to that audience and the pain points, the problems that they have, and the way that we solve it with video. Holy cow, like now you've got like a little bit of a plan that you can start testing out and seeing if it works. So ranting.
No, that's so true, and that's literally something I'm in the works of doing, is creating that landing page and putting all that work that I've done with interior designers into some kind of way that it makes sense and everything. And the thing about doing interior design videography, it kind of parlays well into real estate. And just because it's we're filming a house, it's very similar. So even though like you said, you can niche down on a specific type of client, which would be an interior design client, but then that may open doors to other clients that are kind of similar.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, that's what I love about that. When I think about back when we were doing weddings, if I had 2 or 3 times as much time on my hands as I wish that I multiple businesses, all the things. But back when we were doing weddings, we were doing high-end luxury weddings. And we had amazingly, successful, super rich families that would hire us to do these beautiful wedding films. Well, in doing that, we were also working with very high-end wedding planners, very high-end venues, very high-end photographers. So we're doing work with all of these high-end venues or vendors that, guess what they all needed? They all needed video.
Yeah.
And so here we are creating these beautiful, powerful stories of couples and families. And then you have this wedding coordinator that is so passionate about the work that she does and cares deeply about her client, is like ready to take a call at 3 a.m. to help her bride just calm down. There's a beautiful, amazing, powerful story that really should be leveraged online so people can see, like, why does this person care about this work? When you're trying to figure out what coordinator you're gonna hire, who should you hire? Well, consider this one because she's all in, right? So, and then you've got venues. It's like, well, every venue, we're in all these venues filming all this like beautiful B-roll for this, 10-minute wedding film.
Right.
Shoot, like this actually could be promotional for the venue itself.
Yeah.
And then you get a soundbite from the couple or from the wedding coordinator who loves using this venue. And so there's so much crossover. We could have stayed in weddings and only done weddings and had multiple landing pages. Here's to our bride and groom, here's to our wedding coordinators, here's to our photographers, here's to our venues. And I could have had a salesperson in each of those areas say like, hey, your focus is just find venues.
For sure.
And get us as a preferred vendor there, and we'll create not just wedding films, but we'll create commercial pieces that they can use for promotion. So stopping and thinking about whatever niche that you're serving, or if you're afraid of serving a niche, the beautiful thing is like you start niching down, you realize that there's vendors that they use and there's other people that they know that are all kind of related. So if you can step back and think, what are those connections that just fit like a glove versus, I'm going to work with interior designers and then I'll work with lawyers, and then I'll shoot a wedding film here and there. Nothing wrong with doing all those different kinds of industries, but I'm just saying if you really become known as the expert in one of those niches, then the neighbor niches or the crossovers become so much easier to have conversation with because they know that you get it.
You're right about that. If you're doing work for a specific niche, there's always more doors that can open within that niche, right? Yeah. So with interior design, for example, they always get photography done. And so there's a photographer that I work with a lot. Her name's Jess Glynn. She lived in Palm Beach, but then she ended up moving to Ireland. But I actually did a video for her business and her brand that's still on her website from a couple of years ago. So, the connections you can make within a niche are good. And I know a lot of creatives don't want to be in a specific niche because they don't feel like they can be creative forever. I forget who says it. I think it's Blair Enns. He says something about a creative sees 10 doors and wants to open every single one. But niching down is going into that door, that one door, and just finding that there are actually 10 more doors behind that one door.
Right.
We're all afraid. Like, we just want to do what hasn't been done yet, or do something that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And the way to be really good at something is to do it over and over.
Yeah, 100%. Again, back to the wedding world, when I was doing weddings, there were a few venues that we would spend, I mean, golly, so many times there throughout each summer. Yeah, just very popular venues, and people would just ask me like, man, doesn't that get so boring because it's the same thing? And when you think about it, it's very much like, oh, I'm in this niche. We only do weddings. Don't they get kind of boring? Oh, you're filming at the same spot. Doesn't that get boring? For me, I didn't fall into this trap. I never thought that it's the same. Like, every couple's story was different. How they looked and acted, and their families, and then their friends, their personalities, or every wedding had its own brand.
For sure.
Right? So even though the venue might have, some of the shots may have looked the same, we put more pressure on ourselves to say like, okay, we're going to get the obvious establishing shot, but what can we do to make this look more interesting than the last one that we were here? We're just creative by nature. And so if nothing else, what it made us do is it forced us to try to be more creative than we would if we were always showing up at a new venue and doing a new thing, where I feel like, oh, like these are all so different from each other. Yeah, duh, because they're all at different places. And then you add in like different people, so then they're even multiply different. So as creatives, like, we're so good at being creative. This is what we do. We are creative. So if you feel like, oh, I'm just afraid of like having a niche because I don't want to, get stuck doing the same old thing, that's not how you're wired. You're not going to do the same old thing. You're going to think of new things, and it's going to challenge you, and you're going to rise to the challenge because you are a creative.
Right. And something to piggyback on, niche-wise, with just my experience with, we're just continuing down this interior design narrative. One of the companies I'm working for right now is we're doing YouTube. Like, that's what we are doing. That's the goal, to grow a YouTube channel. So not only am I doing interior design work and getting a great portfolio of work, I'm actually learning so much about the YouTube space because I think it's so powerful right now in 2024. I mean, you can grow an Instagram account, you can grow a TikTok, you can grow all these other social media platforms, but I think YouTube is still the strongest there is. They will actually pay you to grow your brand on their platform. And I don't think any of the other platforms can do that, So as far as niching down, it's like, yeah, I would love to be able to just be that go-to interior design videographer and, shoot beautiful spaces and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm building this rapport as like the YouTube guy as well. So there's so many different little avenues that it's opening up, and I'm loving it.
Well, even like thinking about YouTube, like that could be a niche. It's like, oh, like if I became known as the YouTube guy, then I might I work with this interior designer, but then I've got this lawyer that wants to start a YouTube channel. I've got this person over here. You create your own framework for, hey, if we're going to show up on YouTube, these are the 3 things that we should be doing, or the 3 kinds of videos that we should be making. So again, like it can feel like, oh, well, that's not very creative. But by nature, that's who we are. And if you have a framework, anybody that talks about or teaches creativity, that is a creative, knows that we have a formula for how we create. There's certain things that bring us inspiration, and when we're around those things, our ideas flow. So it's like, you better figure out a way to get to that thing. If it means you need to sleep for 12 hours the night before, and then you're like, wake up fully rested, ready to create, or you need to drink a coffee and then you're like ready to create, or you need to be, on the beach and then you're ready to create, whatever that thing is that you depend on to be creative, unless it's like harmful to your body, like hallucinogens or something.
Right.
I know, yeah. Just, okay. I digress. But, I think there's a format even to creativity, which is like, wait, what is that? Is that a conflicting statement? I don't know. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's what,
just ranting,
an oxymoron or something like that. It's like,
yeah.
But And you kind of hit the nail on the head of where I'm thinking and what I'm thinking moving forward. You know, I would love to be the YouTube guy, probably more than a lot of these other things, because I don't think YouTube's
Kenrick Mills, the YouTube guy.
Let's go. I mean, I will be that guy, 100%. Because I don't think YouTube's going anywhere. I think a lot of these businesses may have ebbs and flows and have, you know, times where they're busy, times when they're not. But creating something that, like a channel, like a YouTube channel that has evergreen content that people can always find. I think that the big difference between, say, Instagram and YouTube is a search engine, right? You can type in something and find it. I don't know how many times I've been on Instagram and I'm trying to find this post that I saw 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like impossible. It's like they make it so hard for you to find something. And I can watch a video that I watched in college that's 18 years old about shoes or whatever it is. You know what I mean? The funny videos that everybody used to watch, they're still there and they're still just racking up views. And it's just a no-brainer to me. And I think it's something that hopefully businesses start to do more and start to build something on. And I know it's been around for a really long time, but it's still an idea that I think people aren't kind of catching on to build your business on YouTube as well. And you know, there's so many different ways to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go down this path. I will say today is a momentous day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Today's a big day for me, personally, professionally. I launched an actual video that I created specifically for YouTube.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
I mean, thumbnail, title. You know what's embarrassing is that video has been edited and ready to go for 5 months, 6 months, maybe.
Wow.
My hair looks different.
Yeah.
And then leading up to what it took for me to get the courage, or whatever you want to call it, to actually, you know, do the video, and then, you know, it's been sitting there for months to get the courage to say, like, I'm just going to put it out there. And then, like, even as I'm hitting the submit button, I'm like, and then I shared it this morning too, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm sharing this, because now people know it's there, and like now people can start poking holes in it, and you know, they're gonna be like, oh, Ryan thinks he's a YouTube guy. So I has all of those little voices, and I'm like, nope, I'm doing it. And sure, you know, maybe there will be the voices, but maybe there won't. And regardless, this is what I believe in. This is what I care about. I want to do this. I'm doing it. Whew. Okay, so we're gonna go down this path. Breathe. I did it. It's done. I have no idea. It might have 3 views, and that's okay. Hard part's over.
Right.
What are you doing? Are you doing any, like, YouTube for your work? I mean, you're talking about, and this is where I don't want this to sound challenging, but what I heard you say is you're kind of harping on how business owners really should be using YouTube. So my follow-up question is, are you using YouTube for you?
So you kind of caught me there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. All right.
No, 100%.
Let's go. You can only be the YouTube guy if you're doing this for yourself.
You're so right.
That's not true.
But practicing what you preach is 100% something that I subscribe to that notion and that thought. And bringing up Josh again, I mean, he just started his YouTube channel, I think, in the past 6 months, and he's been consistent. We've talked about it multiple times, and he's crushing it as far as just being consistent, getting his message out. He can talk so well on camera, like probably with just having bullet points. Like, I'm not like that. I have to have just a conversation organically with somebody like this to have things pop out of my head. If I plan things, it's like I just kind of crumble and I get into the shell and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to push record. I've done some YouTube videos within the past, years, but I haven't been as consistent as I need to. And telling everybody on this podcast and my clients that YouTube is so powerful and that not doing it myself is like a travesty. It really is. And I need to get a kick in the butt. Like, I feel like I'm getting a little swift one right now and I'm getting called out. I need to get called out. And I need to start my new YouTube channel, and I need to be consistent, just like the things I'm telling everybody else.
So saying, and now I can coach from here, because I have a YouTube channel, and I've posted. So
Yep.
now I've got the right.
Yeah, man.
I'm teasing. But we all know, we all say this, Kenrick. We all say I should have a YouTube channel, right? But there is something that is stopping you. There's something that stopped me, right? And I just kind of shared, like 10 years ago, I was like, I should probably have a YouTube channel. I should probably be posting YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, I'd be flying you to Detroit to do this interview if I started my YouTube channel 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'd be
Right.
going to some fancy dinner later.
Oh, for sure.
What the heck was I thinking
I know.
by not doing this? But it's the same thing. It's like I knew I should, right? I should all over myself. I did say should. I should. That's what we do. We should all over ourselves.
Yeah.
I should be doing this. I know that I should. One thing I did year and a half ago, 2 years ago, hired a social media marketing team to help me create consistent content on social because I knew that it would probably help us. But then I also knew that now when I'm telling clients, hey, we're investing in social media, we're investing in doing videos for ourselves to promote what we're doing on social media. So you should too. It's working for us. We're getting views. We're getting people that say, I like your content. We're getting clients. We're getting repeat clients that are
Right.
like, yeah, your stuff just keeps coming up. Let's have a conversation. The same thing with YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube, but you're telling clients that they should have a YouTube channel, it's hard for them to really believe that. When you can say, I started my YouTube channel, I'm getting views on it, people are engaging, audience is growing. It doesn't have to be tens of thousands of subs or tens of thousands of views. It's if you have 200 people of your ideal audience that are
Right.
watching your video, that is amazing. That's like we're kind of like confused, I think, a little bit because we see, if you're successful on YouTube, it's because you're getting AdSense. If you have 100,000 subs and you get the plaque, like that's
right.
I don't have the time or energy to get 100,000 subs. What I'm talking about is not going to just generate that many people or that many views or that much success or that much money. But if I got 100 people that were my ideal audience that watched my videos, I could build a very successful. If I got, I think about my two biggest clients. If I doubled my two biggest clients, I got two more of those biggest clients.
Yeah.
So if I had 10 people watching my videos and 20% of those people reached out to do work, my revenue would skyrocket in my business. So I'm eating my own dog food. Is that a saying? People say that?
Yeah, sure.
I'm finally doing it.
Yeah.
We launched a month ago. I posted all of my favorite videos, client videos on our production YouTube channel, which didn't really exist. So now I've got this. Next thing I'm like, shoot, I need to create a 5-minute video. I've got all these FAQ videos about, why to hire a video production company, why to do a FAQ video. I'm like, I've got content. I just need to be putting it on there. And even if it's not growing, it's there and it's a start. And I can tell my clients, here's how I'm using it. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm posting. So you just create more opportunity for yourself when you're investing in the thing yourself. We did brand films for the longest time. And for the longest time, guess what we didn't have? We didn't have a brand film. Then we created one. And then it became so much easier to tell clients, every business should have a brand film. Instead of every business, except for mine, because I'm the video guy, should have a brand film.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's no alignment there. So it can be confusing to clients. So if you're having a hard time selling something, look at what you're offering and do you have that for yourself?
100%. And it goes back to the saying, what is it? The shoemaker's kids have holes in their shoes or something along those lines.
Yeah,
it's
doesn't have time to make them for his kids.
Yeah,
for his clients,
exactly.
he does.
And that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, we have time, I think, enough to do these things that we're telling everybody else to do. You have to practice what you preach at a certain point. And so I've tried to make it a goal of mine to start a YouTube channel very soon. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say, how I want to do it, because I don't want to add to the noise, so to speak, right? I want to be able to provide somebody with value. And I get in my head with it and I kind of go down that road of imposter syndrome where it's like, what do I have that everybody hasn't heard already, everybody hasn't said already? I guess my journey is a little bit different than everybody's, right? So maybe I start there. And maybe it's not video production related. Maybe it's more around entrepreneurship and betting on yourself, because everybody has a little bit different backstory, so to speak, or origin story, if you want to bring in some Marvel action or something.
Yeah. Kenrick, like when you think of the YouTube channel, like who do you think you would be making the videos for?
I think people or younger people, when I think about this, I have a nephew that just graduated high school. And about a year or two ago, he bought a camera. He was asking me, what camera should I buy? What should I do with this and stuff like that. I think of somebody watching my YouTube channel being him almost, where he wants to get into doing this video and photo thing, but he doesn't really know where to start. He's not going to school for it. He's not trying to, make it maybe his full job, but he wants to dabble in it. That's somebody that I think I could speak to, get somebody before they get too far down the road or follow who else. So
I'm going into coaching mode right now.
All right.
So I'm going to cut you off because you've given me permission. You haven't given me permission, but this is what I would ask you if I was actually coaching you. Do I have permission to cut you off?
yes.
Too late. I already did. Okay. So let's think about you launching a YouTube channel for Earthwalker Media. Okay, so let's say Earthwalker Media has a YouTube channel. Who would you be making videos for?
That's true.
To essentially, like, the goal of that channel would be to get more clients, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's just, and as you're thinking about YouTube, whatever, but any video business, any video production business should probably have some kind of YouTube presence.
Yeah.
And my suggestion would be, if you don't know where to start with like a channel that's going to help you get more of your ideal clients. Okay, so let's just start there. So who would you make this this channel for? Who would you hope hires you?
Probably business owners that have a thriving business, but maybe they don't have any kind of creative arm or extension to their business, because a lot of people are good at the thing, they're good at insurance,
Yeah.
they're good at being a lawyer, they're good at gardening or whatever that is, but they don't know anything about being creative or how to implement things into social media or marketing in general. So I would think in a broad sense that would maybe be the type of person.
So then, like, how local to you? Like, within how many miles?
Probably like 50 to 100. I'm pretty local
Okay,
usually.
50 to 100 miles. So how many other video production companies within 500 miles of you have YouTube channels that are speaking to that audience?
It's a great question. I'm not sure. There's got to be some.
I mean, take a guess.
Miami's pretty close to us. Orlando's pretty close to us. I would assume, more than 10 for sure. More than 20.
So let's just, okay. Let's go to a 50-mile radius, because you said 50 mile. How many in a 50-mile radius?
Probably less than 5.
Yeah, probably like
Not
one
many.
or two.
Yeah.
And if there are one or two, they probably only have 1 or 2 videos, is my guess.
Yeah.
They are not consistent. They're not showing up because they're saying and believing the same thing that you said, where I don't want to add to the noise. What am I going to say that somebody else isn't already saying? All of those imposter syndrome things. Even if you had 10 competitors in a 500-mile radius and they were all showing up and they were all posting weekly or monthly videos to talk about video production and 10 questions to ask your video production agency, or 5 videos that every business should have, or whatever those things are, every person has their own personality. They have their own values. They have their own set of skills. They have their own like ideal clients, the kind of client that they want to work with. So there's the only noise is you adding in all those 10 people in one space, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to listen. Yeah, but you're not the ideal client. You're not who you are trying to reach with your channel.
Right.
Right. And so if the only thing that was different was your personality, you are the brand of your media company. And every personality behind every business is so unique and different than you. So it's not noise. It is a different perspective. And it's an opportunity for people as they're shopping to see and hear who do they like, who do they resonate with, and giving them the option to say, nope, not a fit, not a fit. ooh, I kind of like this person. So if you're not showing up with your personality, with the things that you care about, you might be talking about the 3 videos that every business should have, and maybe all 10 of those video companies within a 100-mile radius are saying those same 3 things, but you do it differently, even if it's 1 degree differently.
Right.
You do it differently, you have a different level of skill, and your personality and the culture that you're building is completely different. So you're actually doing a disservice by not launching a YouTube channel to reach your ideal client, because you're not giving people the opportunity to see, could you possibly be a good fit, and should we book a call with you? You're making it harder for everybody. They're having to reach out to more companies because more companies are online, and not enough companies have videos about themselves that talk about what they care about and why they do this work. So you're actually making it a lot easier for the people that would align with you to book a call, and then the ones that don't, to just skip over you and say, like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Right.
How lovely is that?
That's so true. Geesh. I need to start recording right now. I'm gonna get off this call and just record a YouTube video right now. You have me convinced.
Okay, good.
It's good.
My hope is, and this is the same thing with my clients. I started this thing called the Smartphone Film Academy, where I'm trying to equip clients, potential clients of mine with, hey, use your phone, start capturing content right now today. But most of them, they went through this cohort, and most all of them aren't doing anything. I think I've got 1 student that is consistent in making content. So digging into, like, what is the thing that's stopping you from actually doing it? It's not just you just need a kick in the pants. You already know that you should be doing it. So spend a little bit of time there. And I'm talking to the person that's listening to this show that has considered, I know I should do it. I should. Of course. But, like, what is that thing? So maybe you just need somebody sitting across from you that's feeding you. Hey, Kenrick, you came up with the 10 questions. Okay, I'll sit over here. I'll sit on this side of Zoom. I'll ask you the questions.
Right.
So, Kenrick, why do you do this work? Why do you care about it? Who's your ideal client? And for you to talk with direction, could you do that?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be way better than me just putting a camera in front of me and trying to kind of go off the dome, so to speak. I'll
give you my virtual director rate after this call. Perfect. And you can hire me to come do that for you.
Love it.
Dude, this has been so good. Thank you for letting me coach you. It's turned into an impromptu coaching session.
What's your PayPal?
Yeah. But I just so much believe in abundance over scarcity, and the belief that we're all wired so differently, and we all bring something different to the world. And when you can work with the people that you align with, it just makes it all better and all so much more worth it. And I think an important part in that is showing up on social and YouTube and doing things. And I know people are like, "Oh, Ryan, you just started." And I'm like, kind of. Like, if you look, I've got 400 plus videos on YouTube that are the podcast, which we're just taking this. So but for me to hit publish on that one today, it took some massaging, and now I'm just like, you know what, I'm doing it. Gonna do some videos for Tell Studios. I got my personal brand. I'm gonna do some videos there, and we're just doing it. Just go for it, and why not?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Kenrick, how can people follow along with you? Where do you hang out online? If they want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, obviously, I'm not hanging out on YouTube as much as I need to personally.
Yes.
Oh man, but Instagram is probably the best place to find, some links and different things for what I do. And it's just at Earthwalker Media. And then my personal Instagram is at Kenrick_Mills. I do some photography on the side, so prints and things like that. So that'd be the best place to, send me a DM or a comment or give me a follow. So super easy.
So good. Thanks for spending time with us today. How do you want to leave us?
Oh my gosh. Practice what you preach. If you're telling somebody that they should do something, you should maybe look in the mirror and make sure that you're also doing that.
It's good. It's rich. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, love it. Thank you so much for this time. This is really, really good.
Of course, man. Thank you.
All right, I hope you enjoyed my chat with Kenrick. That was really fun. If you are thinking, man, this was just so good. How could I share this with somebody? You know what? Just take a screen grab from your phone, send it out, text it to a friend. Let them know that this encouraged you or inspired you or whatever. If there's a takeaway you want to share with me, you can leave a comment below, and I love reading those. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can send an email to ryan@studiosherpas.com. Happy to read your emails and respond to you. That would be cool. And what else? Anything else? I think, I've been talking about the Onward Summit. This is our in-person event for filmmakers that come hang out at our studio for some in-person training and encouragement and inspiration and all that stuff. You can find out more about this event by going to studiosherpas.com/onward. It is the Onward Summit. We'd love to have you there this coming October 6th through the 8th. That's it. All right. I hope you have an incredibly fruitful, amazing week, and I will see you next week. Okay? All right. Bye for now.